Alright guys, I am back. So it's incredible how my voice changes from like the daytime to like the afternoon. Like I was just like, oh my god, I'm really low, and that's because it was early. I had lunch, I'm good. Coffee, well, coffee's gone, but anyway, so we're good so far on this application. We've done a lot of things that you can use to spearhead this away into more stuff, right? Just think about what we've done so far as in a bigger scale, right? Think of it as we're building a CRUD system, right? Oh god, you're gonna make me spell CRUD. I always mess this up. Create. Forgot what the R is. Edit and delete, but no, edit, update. Oh my god, I know you guys are gonna kill me in the comments, but I'm sorry. You know what? It's CRUD definition. Okay, so let's just look at what the CRUD definition is. Okay, so CRUD. Create, read, update, and delete. There it is. So, see, this is the thing. I am not one of those developers that spends a lot of time in acronyms and terminology and things like that, because I feel like, why? What's the point? I mean, as an educator, I can see how that benefits me. Okay, I need to be able to communicate with you guys in a language that you guys will understand, and then when you read other documentations or literature out there, then at least you'll remember that you heard the word from me as well, and then you can, pair up the two and understand what's going on. So I get that, and I'm trying to do my best. I'm trying, to get better at that stuff. But growing up as a web developer or as a front end developer mostly, I never really put too many brain cells into the terminology, because I figures like I this thing is kind of complicated as it is, and I need to spend as much time as I can understanding how it works, and just I don't know, maybe all this terminology can wait. All right, so but for all of you who are interested, CRUD is terminology, CRUD, for create, read, update, and delete. So what have we done so far in our application here? So we took care of the delete right here. We took care of the update by updating the notifications reminder property there, and we took care of the read, because this right here is being read, right, with by reading the state. So the only thing we haven't done is the create part. So we need to find a way to wire up this button so that we can pull up a form and then fill out this form, and these forms will give us the items that we need, that when we hit a submit button or something like that, it will basically add a new task for our system. Okay, so by using that entire thing that I'm building here in this mini application, you can take this into a bigger scale and do a lot more. Obviously, the permutations of things that you can do is a lot, and I can never cover it all in one course. So basically what I'm doing with this is basically just building something at a smaller scale as an example, and then you'll basically just when you build something else, you may need a different function here or there. Maybe the fields will be different than what you will need, or from at the form level, which we are going to do now. Okay, so you're not ever going to probably need to replicate this entire thing. Look at it conceptually, and I'm done talking about that. Let's get to it. All right, so we are at the home level right here. We have our home page, which is our main component that is going to basically read, right? Do the read part of CRUD, and then also we have, then inside there we have the tasks component as a whole, and then we have each particular task in there. In the home component, we have also a few of the things in here. We have the delete, and we have our state in here, and then we have the update in here for the reminder. Oops, I messed that up. For the reminder, yeah, for the reminder. So in the CRUD system, right? In the CRUD system, this will be the D. This will be the update, the U, and I'm basically just through the state. So I guess we could call this the read right here. Okay. All right. So let's get to the add. So what we're going to do is first we're going to create a new component. Where is it? Okay, new component, and then we're going to call this one add task JS. Okay, and we're going to change it to JavaScript React, like I always do. Make sure I save this before I mess it up. Okay, so the add task, I am going to then bring in a new component, and then this new component basically is going to bring, well, I guess we'll start with the HTML first. So what I'm going to be doing here is basically a form. Okay, so because we're using Bootstrap, we don't have to build every form from scratch. So we are going to go to, excuse me while I'll find, there it is. All right, so we're gonna go here and we're gonna look for forms in the components. Maybe maybe not here. Extend, no. Helpers, utilities, nope. Content, nope. Forms, it's its own thing. It's not even a component. All right, let's close all this. All right, so we're gonna go to forms and we're gonna look at overview just to see what's in there. Maybe there's a form already we can use. This is perfect right here. This is perfect. So all we're gonna do is now is we're gonna just copy this, get to our application, just bring all this to the top. Actually, I'm just gonna put that down. There you go. And then we're not gonna need this div because the form itself is gonna wrap. It's gonna act as a wrapper. Okay, cool. And now we're gonna look at these class right here, and let's hide, yep, all of that. Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D. Now the reason why I do is Control D and not a Control All or Select All is again because I want to make sure that I know what I am picking up when I do this. And now we're going to basically just arrow to the end and one step back so I can put the cursor at the same spot for all of them. And we're gonna put class name on that. And now we're gonna look at some of these inputs right here that are not being self-closed and it's yelling at me. So self-close those. Cool. And we are good to go. All right, so for right now, let's just get rid of all these 4 right here. Yeah, we're not gonna need it. Besides, it's not even right for HTML. I mean, for React. For HTML is fine, but for React it will be, I think it's for HTML. Yeah, something like that. I think it's for HTML. So anyway, we're gonna get rid of these. We're not gonna use these right now. I'm gonna keep that class name, sure, that's fine. We're not gonna use the IDs or the ARIA helps. This is mostly used in other things, the ARIAs, I mean, such as SEO or accessibility. We're not gonna use that right now. Let's just get rid of all the IDs. We're not gonna need the IDs, to be honest. So we'll just keep that out. We're not gonna need this message for validations. That's another thing that we're gonna eventually cover later. So I'm gonna take that out. I'm just gonna leave the label and the input. That's all I'm gonna need, label and input. Okay, so we'll do the same thing to these. Get rid of this and get rid of that. And we're also not going to need passwords or any of that, so we're gonna check on that in a minute. But let's first clean up a little bit the stuff that we don't need, and then we can change some stuff. Okay, we don't need this. Okay, we got that, we got that. All right, good. So now, what are the three elements that we need to apply, that we need to include in this form in order to fill this out? So imagine you are the user and you need to create a new task. You're gonna need to put something in here and you're gonna need to put something in there, right? The author can just be picked up automatically by whoever is logged in. So we're not gonna worry too much about that part. So I'm just gonna put, oh, and obviously this right here, the reminder. We're gonna need to know if it's or what do you call it? If it's true or false, right? If it's checked or not. It's a checkbox basically. So anyway, so the first one, since it's going to be the task name, we're gonna put task title. Task title. Oops. All right, task title. There you go. And that's going to be of type text. It's not going to be an email. It's going to be a type text. Now, what's the difference between a type text and a type email? A type email, for validation purposes and things like that, is going to be much easier to validate. But at the same time, some, especially in phones, especially on the iPhone, sometimes you click on the iPhone and you click on the text box, and if it accepts an email, you automatically get in the keyboard, you'll get the option at the bottom to apply the @ or to apply the @Outlook, @Gmail, all of that, because it read that it was an email field. So it would automatically give you these options. If it doesn't, it's because it was already made as a text. Will accept an email, but it's a text. But in this case, because it's a title, it's not an email, it's just regular text. We're gonna leave it as text, okay? All right, so the next one is going to be the date. So we'll call it that. Date due date, yeah, due date. Dubai. How about Dubai? Not Dubai, the capital or the country. I don't know if it's a country or the capital. I think it's a capital of UAE. Is it? What is Dubai? What is Dubai? What is Dubai? Dubai is a city in the UAE. Ha, I was right. Possibly the capital. I don't know. I'm not gonna waste time on that. But anyway, if you've been to Dubai, have you been to Dubai? I've never been to Dubai. I heard it's beautiful. But if you've been to Dubai, tell me. What's up? Should I go? Alright. Next one. It's gonna be now. Okay, so this one is gonna be set a reminder. Set a reminder. How about that? Yep. So this one is going to be set a reminder, and it's going to have that that checkbox basically. So that part is fine. And then this one is going to be add a task. Yeah, sure. Submit, add a task, all the same. All right, so let's go ahead and just save that. And now that it's saved, we have already our component created. Now we can actually import it. So where are we going to import this? Okay, so this is why it's important to know the structure of things, right? Is it going to be in task? If I put it here, what do you think that form is going to display? Correct. It's going to display inside of 3 times basically on top of each one of these. What about in tasks? Should it display there? Technically, it will be okay. If I display it on top of this, it will still display it on top of the UL. So that'll be okay as well. But for my intended purposes, I'm gonna add it to my home page instead, right here. Okay. And actually, I think I'm gonna go one step above, because here's the header. Yeah, here's the header. And here's where that add button is in that header. Is that right? No, the header is up here. Where is that? That's the page title. That's the page title. Okay. Page title, which is here, and then we go to home. Page title is here. Okay, so that's what, oh, there you go. That's what the button is, the page title. Right, there you go. Perfect. So it will go there, actually. It will go on your home page, and it will go there. Now, it just can't just go there, right? Like I can't just do that. I have to actually import it first and then use it. So I'm going to import add task. There it is. And now I am going to grab it and put it in here. There it is. And then I hit enter and boom, there it is. Set a reminder, add task, all that jazz. Alright, so this is getting a little crowded, like I feel like I'm getting like claustrophobic in there. So I'm going to add, let's go back to, let's close this task right here. Let's close this one too for now. And let's leave that one open, but let's change that into JavaScript React. Alright, let's keep that there. Alright, so let's go back to the add task. Right here on the form, I want this to be a little bit more room. So I am going to add a class name. And before we start adding class names, always, like I said, always use what is available to you. Don't just go nilly-willy start adding stuff, because you know you can end up crowding and adding more bloat that you need. You know, let's look for margin, utilities, margin and padding, perfect. And then let's look at the margin and padding, which is not what I was looking for right here. Spacing utilities. That's more of what I was looking for. So Bootstrap has this formula here that you can use. Okay, you got the M or the P depending on whether you want to add margin or padding. We want to add margin, so margin. And then it says here which size you want to add margin to. So this one is going to be for margin top, this one's going to be for margin bottom, if you only need to do one or the other. This one is going to be margin start, which used to be L for the left, but they changed that in Bootstrap 5. And then margin end, which used to be R, right, but they also changed that in Bootstrap 5. And the reason why is because countries have right to left and left to right, so it was, for them it was like right meant the end for us but the start for them. So in order to make it more global for everybody, they just changed it from left and right to start and end. Okay, and then X, which is basically both left and right, and Y, which is both Y, you know, the Y axis, top and bottom. And that's what we want. We want to add a margin wide, you know, bottom, top and bottom, right? Or maybe just the bottom. Yeah, no, I think top and bottom will be good. So we add Y, so M, Y, and then we have from 1 to 5 or auto. And that basically means how much spacing do you need, which is already in some kind of mathematical formula there, whatever. So I'm just gonna go with a 3 and see what it does. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I probably will do a little more, just to, yeah, just a little bit more emphasis. All right, so this button right here, I would actually, I don't know, for an app, for a phone app, it would look good if it was full. But then if I put this on the desktop size, then it starts to look like that, right? But what I will do is, because it doesn't make sense for this to be on this side, is I will push this to the end. So if I remember correctly, is align item end, or is it justify? I think it's justify. Justify. That's not justify. Justify. Yep. Content end. And I think it's gonna need a deflex. Deflex. Or is it maybe in a separate div? I'm gonna create a div. And I'm gonna create a class name. Okay. Deflex for display flex. And justify content is gonna go there. I'll make sure I delete these guys here and add this button up in here now, put it in there. Yep, there you go. So I just basically wrapped the button inside of another div and then made that div so it's flexed, so it's inside of a flex box, so it will be more responsive. And then I just basically justified whatever content is in it to the end. If you have any questions on what to use on how these classes works, again, these are all Bootstrap classes. You'll find them right here in Flex, and you'll find how to use the deflex in there and the other variations of the deflex per viewport. So for medium viewports, large viewports, like extremely large screens or things like that, and it will tell you how to flush it to the rest of the light, all that stuff. Okay, so just mess around with that stuff. I'm not gonna spend too much time explaining that. All right, so we have the form that we need, and it's right here. Yep. So now what we need to do is we need to attach a piece of state to each of these fields so that we can grab whatever is being input in there. So whatever you write in here, it has to be saved in a state. Okay, think of state as piece of data, right? As a container for data, more like it, not really a data itself. So in order to do that, we have to make our own state up here, which means we have to bring in, we have to import useState from React. Okay, and now we're gonna make our three pieces of state. So on a const, just like we always done for state, we're gonna put in basically the key value pair that we need. This one is gonna be title, and set title equals to use state, and what is going to be initiated as is going to be blank. It's going to be nothing. Okay, so it's just an initiation, and we're going to do this 3 times because the next one is going to be date. So this right here is not type password. This one is going to be type, we can use date if you wanted to, but then what it's going to do if we do that is the browser is going to add a calendar to it, and it's going to make it so that you can click a calendar and all that. That can make things a little bit more complicated in this course, so I'm not going to do it that way. I'm just going to keep it as text for now. But in your, actually, let me see, because it's already, okay. Oh, because it was password. Yeah, there you go. Because it was password, type password, it would do that. Okay, so if it was date, let me see if it, let me show you what it would do. Let me console log, I mean not console log, comment that out so that it can render. You see what I mean? It adds this right here, and then it'll make things a little bit more complicated, I think, because then we have to work around with dates in order to actually, for it to make sense. Otherwise text is fine. So let's just do it as text for now. But in the real world, if you're meaning to handle date, then use the date object. The JavaScript has a gray one, the date object, and so there are plenty of them out there. All right, so we're gonna go with date. Just call it date. Yep. And then this one is gonna be set date, and that's going to be initialized as an empty string. And then the last one is going to be the reminder, and that's going to be set reminder. Come on, set reminder. But that one is not going to be, it's a checkbox, so it doesn't have actual content in it. Okay, it's just a boolean. It's either it's true or it's false, checked or not. So false. So it's going to be initialized as a false, as a construct. And then for each of the forms right here, each of the items in here, we're going to start then attaching these states to them. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the value, and we're going to attach this one to title, and then we're going to create a function for, it's going to be an onChange function, which basically will do something whenever you type into it, right? You want it so that when you type something in it, it saves to the state. and it keeps it there for you to use later. And this one is going to take a little function there, and with a arrow function, and I'm going to use the event, and then in there I'm going to make then set text, which is the what I'm using. Sorry, not set text, set title. I'm gonna use my set title right here, so I can then not transform, but grab the state, change it, and then put it back. Right? We've talked about this a few times. And in there, I'm going to grab that event that I am using here. Where is it? This one. I'm gonna grab the event, and I'm going to grab the target value. Okay. So this is getting a little convoluted in here, so I'm going to do this so you can see it better. There you go. And now we're basically going to do the same thing to the other one. So I'm gonna grab this, and I'm gonna grab this. We said that it was going to be text. Yep, like that. Change that now to date and set date. Okay, and it's still gonna be the same. It's gonna be targeting, target value. And last but not least, the type is gonna be checkbox, and put that there and enter. Now this one's gonna be a little bit different. Okay, so in the value here, it's still gonna be the same. It's gonna be reminder, okay, for the value, but the unchange is going to change a little bit, because instead of, well, first of all, gotta put reminder here. It's not going to get the target value because it doesn't have any value to it. Instead, it's going to grab the current target, and look in that current target for the checked state. Not state, the checked, the current target. I guess check state will be the right term for it. All right, so that is now okay, and I'm going to do that, save it. This will save. Okay, and we're good. So if I inspect my formula here, make sure that I don't have any errors. There we go, everything is good. So we've talked quite a few. I think I'm going to split this video. We've talked quite a few. We've gone over quite a few things. So I think I'm going to stop it right here and then do a part 2 to this, because there's still like a lot more to cover, and I don't want to overwhelm you. So stay tuned. Number 2 is coming up.